So the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland will remain a regular visitor to Ivy House. But the relationship of the current incumbent and the Minister has been far from smooth. In spite of the public display of harmony, harsh words have been exchanged and dirty tricks have been employed.
I think there's been a very important development, obviously, over the weekend. We now have the institutions restored. Both governments want to review the political progress that has been made and to work together in cooperation in dealing with the immense challenges that face us all in making sure that this agreement is successfully implemented.
Thank you very much.
Let me just add to that. Brian and I sat down, I think, in the aftermath of suspension that neither of us wanted, and I certainly didn't enjoy.
In the fraught atmosphere following the suspension of the Northern Ireland Executive, a leak from the Northern Ireland office fingered Brian Cowan as a Sinn Féin fellow traveller. It claimed he wanted virtually all evidence of Britishness removed from the governance of Northern Ireland. He addressed it when he spoke to the British-Irish Association.
To seek to eliminate all traces of Britishness would be as absurd as to seek to eliminate all traces of Irishness. And the community in Northern Ireland is both communities. The people of Northern Ireland are all its people.
Was he damaged by the leaked memo from the Northern Ireland office?
I don't think he was. I think he has the capacity to be a good foreign minister. I'm surprised that the content of the leaked memo hadn't been blunted by more public comment since he became minister, remarking on the fact that he does hold fervently green views. He is the greenest minister. Peter Barry used to be referred to by the Unionist side of the House as a green foreign affairs minister. Cowan is the most green person to take over that portfolio. Having said that, he's a very intelligent man with an ability to master a brief, and I think, an ability to read the pitfalls and to tailor his own fervently held views to the overall imperative of compromise and negotiation and conciliation and winning the allegiance of the Trimble Unionists.
I don't think he's a reformer, but there's nobody in politics who can't change. I think he's able. Let me get back to the very first thing I said. He's able, he's a hard worker, and you can't take those qualities away from anyone.
And he's somebody you can do business with?
Oh, I'll do business with anybody I have to do business with.
Two more different people, admittedly, you couldn't put in the one room. The suave, sophisticated Mandelson and the gruff Offaly man whose sport isn't cricket, and I doubt if he listens to too much of classical music and other of Peter Mandelson's hobbies. But that doesn't mean to say that they can't do the business.
This attempt to portray good relationships as being having to be anodized, as I've said before, unanimous about nothing. That's not a realistic assessment of the requirements of the situation. And I think we're both professional politicians who are doing our job, representing our people and our relative political constituencies in a way which is totally appropriate and in a diplomatic and proper way.
Mandelson has met his match, and it's for whoever, and it's steel meeting steel there.
But whatever about his relationship with Peter Mandelson, his dealings with the Republican movement will be watched closely. For some, this will be the litmus test of his stewardship.
He's probably the man who will tell the Republican movement, you're doing well, there's no more there to be got. The democracy is spoken, the support for the Good Friday Agreement is there, but North and South, that's the political will has to be there to implement it on behalf of what the people voted for. And if he saw that the Republicans were pushing for too much, that he genuinely didn't believe they were entitled, he would tell them quicker than anybody, face to face. And he would be the first to ask them for a bottom line to know where he would stand in negotiations as far as they were concerned, and he would do the same with the Unionists. And then he would try to marry the two. But no, he would be strong with both. He wouldn't give them any satisfaction at all in trying to go forward to get more, just because he was seen as a traditional minister.
He's got to encourage particularly Sinn Féin, who are excellent propagandists who are very good at many things, particularly their work at grassroots level, but who are not either experienced or good politicians at administrative and executive levels, and who have a big learning curve to achieve. And I think that he's got to encourage them in a way not to indulge in your face politics.
Ken McGuinness has said that what you need to do is to persuade the IRA, persuade the Republican movement away from what he terms in-your-face politics to the unionist community. Do you think is that a valid piece of advice?
I think everybody in the resumed executive and assembly recognise that in addition to implementing the letter of the agreement, the spirit of the agreement must also be respected. My job as foreign minister is to implement Irish foreign policy and in relation to Northern Ireland to ensure that the agreements that we have and to which we've all signed up to, that we implement those agreements. We have changed our constitution. We have made historic shifts ourselves to accommodate the need to recognise the validity of two traditions in Ireland.
Events this week indicate just how delicate the situation in the north remains. The residual anger in the loyalist community is palpable.
Well, I think the process must prove itself resilient against those who seek to undermine the rule of law. And the Parades Commission have made their determinations in relation specifically to Parade Grand Prix. That, and I take cognizance of the Chief Constable's determination to uphold the rule of law. Both the police services and the security forces must do so. My view is to make a plea for dialogue in the situation. That is the only way in which these matters can be resolved.
In the past few weeks, Fianna Fáil and Brian Cowan have taken a number of body blows close to home, and they've gone into the summer in disarray.
The ironic thing is that the confidence motion has galvanised the cohesion of this government. And this government intends dictating the agenda, the broad economic and social agenda for which we were elected. We will not allow the agenda of this government to be reduced to a single item. The agenda of government is far wider than that.
Do you not accept that the government, going into the summer recess, has major difficulties that you need to resolve?
We don't have major difficulties that we need to resolve.
Well, you've had the O'Flaherty debacle. You've had two budgets that have not been as effective as they should have been in terms of public perception. You had the resignation or the offer of resignation of the Taoiseach last week.
I'm quite prepared to debate on the issues, not deal with the rhetoric, not deal with what passes for serious political debate here about who has the most colourful phrase and who comes up with the nicest little simile or metaphor. I'll deal with the issues. And on the issues, this government can, on every area of policy, compare its 3 years with the previous 3 years of the Rainbow Coalition, and we can outpace them and are seen to be outpacing them on every issue,
Brian Cowan has always been extremely close to Albert Reynolds, but he's also served Bertie Ahern well.
But I don't think he has that same loyalty that he demonstrated to Albert Reynolds necessarily to Bertie Ahern. He's a team player in the sense that even if he disagrees with the Offaly selection, he would still go out as a team player and try and raise lumps on the opposition, and including, as I say, when the referee isn't watching. So I wouldn't go too far if I were Bertie Ahern in the automatic assumption that no matter, for example, what comes out of Dublin Castle, that you can rely on Brian Cowan's loyalty.
I'm simply asking you, as a politician, do you not somewhere within you feel one day, there's no vacancy, but when there is, one day, would you like to leave Fianna Fáil?
The parliamentary party will decide that at that time.
But would you like to do it?
It may happen. Of course, one would see it as a great honour if one was asked, and I see a lot of candidates on the horizon. And anyway, it ain't a short-term